Hey guys, welcome to Titan Talk. You got myself, Lieutenant Coop, our Captain McFarland, and we've got our special
Ahoy.
guest with us again, our Chief Leon with us. Today we're doing a reaction video. We are going to be doing hopefully one of these a little bit more often than we have been, but
Nope.
uh
We're doing one subliminal.
Captain McFarland hates this.
Everybody, you're getting the best you can out of us. That's it. That's all we have to offer. It's all on the table. We're going home.
So with this reaction video, it is a little bit more of a graphic one. I'm also going to be giving you guys a picture-in-picture with our chief here, so you guys get to see his reaction like I do. Again, going like always. He's gonna hate me for that one.
I already do. I already do. Not a fan.
Final nail.
I'm the only one who's seen this video, so
0
we've got that
stars.
with it. 0 stars, thanks guys. I appreciate that.
5. All right, let's get her
So
going.
give me a second here. Will you guys entertain them while I set this up?
Sure.
Absolutely. Just probably to start on for everybody to think about this week coming up. Cold is not the word for it.
Yeah.
It's
looking pretty chilly.
It's going to be brutal. So please layer. I know we're still getting coats out. I know we want your patches and everything shown. It's a requirement. We appreciate that, but do not forsake you being, uncomfortable. Make sure that you're laying underneath and getting your shirt on top.
Yep.
Anything that you can do to still show the Titan insignia. But please be safe. It's dangerous cold out, and I just want everybody to take care of themselves.
Yep. Make sure you hydrate too. Just because it's cold doesn't mean you need to be hydrated. So do that as well. Take care of yourself and just make sure, especially the PRNs, the guys that bounce around a lot. Sergeant Kavitz is supposed to be getting with you, and I think he already has. Let us know. We've got a new shipment of jackets, so
Yes.
we have more. The only excuse is if you don't reach out. So
All right, so we're gonna hop into this. Now we're all set. There's our beautiful picture-in-picture.
oh, he's in the top right corner. I see it. Okay.
I always hope you guys, I know it's bad. Honest.
It's a skinny guy. If that's accurate. I'm going on that diet.
Okay. Do me a favor, Sam. I'm going to I'll sit with the line with you.
So that's them guiding him in. So just real quick, so everybody knows everything else that was in that video was them guiding
Their
guy
lead up
guiding
to
him
it.
getting to
Yeah.
him.
Give him info. Yep. There, he got his car up. He's not messing around.
Nope.
Wrong button. Really? Technical difficulties.
I don't like this.
That's good. During this, we fast forward through some of the dispatch call stuff.
Yes.
Were these officers? It looks like LA County deputies. Were these officers?
Rosemead, California.
Okay. Were these officers, these deputies, were they briefed on everything the shop owner
Yes.
gave?
Everything that was given to them,
The
the
launch commander
launch commander was given to the
was given.
officers.
Okay.
And then
Is there anything that we don't know that was added to it?
No,
Like,
that-
is he armed?
the information that was given was limited.
Okay.
What was initially given was given again through the dispatchers, and she just reaffirmed them as well. This is the
Right,
information
gotcha.
where you're going.
I just don't know about losing contact visually with a J1 or a
There is a
homicide
secondary officer on the other
up
side.
there. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I saw him at first. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure we're staying.
He has. I don't think he's moved.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see him in the window.
Yeah.
Is there more guys showing up? Probably, hopefully.
Do we have a scheduled appointment to come in today or what?
He's a ghost.
So you're an earpiece.
I've always liked mine.
Any idea? Copies. That's my box.
It's the second body cam.
Um,
And that's all of those.
Do we have more info?
Ask. It might.
What happened to the suspect? I don't think he made it.
He was hit in the gut. He did. As far as the information I have for that, he did survive. It hit him in the gut
Sound like it hit him in the
as
lung.
he came around. and they said gun he threw from the holster, and the gun came up. It was close quarters. Got him about right here, so it's just below the vital organ area.
They get to him quick enough.
Are we sure about that?
It's not like a long
It's
shot.
what it sounded like to me.
Well-
What from the information that I saw from the video, and
But you don't have further information, so
Okay.
you're making some assumptions.
Yes. Unfortunately, I couldn't find some of the videos we've done. I've tried to look up record for. Not all of them I can get. It is public information, but I don't know.
It looks to me like they
Case
shot him
notes,
while he was
everything.
on the ground.
Yeah. The guy, the first second view came out, and it looked like he shot him, and it almost hit his partner.
That looks to me like they were proning him out
I know the
and
wound
had
is,
already taken the gun from him, and
when
then
it
they
took
shot
off,
him.
yeah.
I know the wound is this high. Is this
I got it, Josh. I understand that. We got to get away from that. What I'm saying is I'm not seeing.
You thought I got him in the back while he's on the ground.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
that's what it looks like from that angle. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything because we don't have the information on it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that second guy came around. They've already got him on the ground, and the first guy's starting to get spread out. You go around.
That's when you hear the round go
And
off.
then you
That's
hear
when they're
him
actually proning him out. When they prone him out and you're firing around, and that's when you hear him kind of gas. And you hear the round, and you hear him gas. I think I don't want that. I don't have enough information.
lot of gray.
Yeah.
There's too much gray there. So let me go on what I know and what I liked and what I didn't like. I like that we always kept the second officer with eyes on him. What I didn't like is the hunched overness that the suspect have, where he's got this room to work in here and manipulate and try to hang on to a weapon or
He's
whatever.
constantly looking.
The way this looked to me is like the door opens, he sees, he says, "Step out of the car, partner." He opens that, he says, "Gun, gun, gun." He sees gun, he tackles. I don't know what happens to the suspect's gun. I didn't even see the suspect's gun because the deputy pounced on it. And then as deputies arrive around the corner, you hear a round go off and then you hear a gasp. And so to me, this looks like that the subject was possibly shot after being disarmed and proned out on the ground, or in the process of being proned out on the ground. There's a very famous, I want to say I want to say it's somewhere in Nevada. I don't want to say the exact city because I just don't want to get it wrong. But there's a very famous video where they're proning somebody out on the ground, and an officer or a deputy comes running up, and the person's prone down. He's on the ground like this, and when the deputy comes up, the deputy allows her finger to slip into the trigger guard, and as she bends down, and we talk about the sympathetic reflex or sympathetic response all the time, when she bends down, when one thing bends, something else is bending, and what was bending was her trigger finger, and you can actually see the round skip off by the suspect's head. Now, she doesn't hit him, but that is, one of those things that range will just show you over and over and over again. If you're moving this hand, or if you're moving something like this, something else is moving, and that's just how we as humans do it, and we have to break those instincts if that's what happened with the deputy. Because if I'm just saying what it looked like to me, it looked like to me that the deputy was coming around the side of the vehicle to respond to the situation that was happening, and a finger possibly slipped into the trigger guard and a round went off. But without further information, it's very dangerous for us to guess.
At face value, I would agree. That's exactly what I thought. It looked like he hit him in the back or the lung area, because you can hear him trying to breathe after he pushes all the air out.
Yeah. I again, none of this, that we want to stand by or plant our flag on, because we just don't have the information.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get any more. I couldn't find any more.
That if there is anything, just because of the scope, let's just say that, Ryan and I don't do what it is we do for a living, and we're two juries or jurors or civilians sitting on a review board or something like that. The scope looks bad. The optic looks bad, and it just looks like, why is there a round going off when I can see both of his hands? Can you play that part one more time for me?
It's very delayed.
I can, but you're gonna have to keep them entertained.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We and this is for everybody listening. We don't like to critique something we don't have all the information on and things, and I understand that these are interesting things for us to look at, but Monday morning quarterbacking stuff is a very dangerous business. And especially when you're talking,
It's easy to do too.
It's
You
easy
can
to
do it for anything for any post.
yeah. And I just want to see the part where they're coming around the side, Josh. And
Where they're coming around the car.
yes,
Yeah.
because to me is when I heard the round.
second body cam. Yeah, the
Yes.
first one is too. It gets
Jumbled.
ripped off his body.
Yeah, it's just too
You can
jumbled.
hear it, but it definitely,
Yeah,
to me, I'm
I
with you. It just my gut reaction was that's not a good shoot.
Yeah,
But
it was a quick view.
yes.
It was a quick view. From what I saw, I thought I saw both of the suspects' hands. And I thought I saw both of the suspects' hands. And I did not see a weapon in either one. Go ahead. Be ready to pause.
And we're not doing sound on this one, just so you know.
Okay, be ready to
Well, we're
pause.
gonna need to hear
We're
it.
gonna need the sound for
Yeah,
the gunshot. And just when you go back, just be ready.
His arms are out. He's either being. Pause it right there. See his arms out. That's
That's
one.
right. That's one.
That's one.
There's one.
Yeah, I
It's
don't think the
gonna
round's
be
gone off yet.
it's gonna be the other angle, not the one of the. It's gonna be.
It doesn't even look like his gun went off.
Yeah, I think it's this.
Yep.
This, yeah,
Yeah,
deputy
she
right
looks
here.
nervous.
This third one.
I think
it
it's
might have
that
been
third
her.
deputy. Just be ready to pause.
That's his?
Yeah,
Hers went off.
yeah. Back a little
So
bit.
that's on his like back right shoulder blade.
Come back a little bit, right there, and just pause when I tell you. Pause. There's one hand.
There's the other. There's one.
There's one. There's a finger in the trigger guard right there.
Yeah, can you crawl that forward?
Well,
Just give us a double tap. Oh man, I can't. I'm looking for the slide to rock back on hers because I didn't see it on his.
I won't be able to capture that.
All right, so okay, hold on. Don't hit anything. I just want everybody to listen and watch right here. Just hit play and listen for a gunshot and go. Right there. And actually his arms actually shoot to the back.
Yeah.
It's like his arms like
Yep.
he's been hit with something.
Yeah.
And so to me, it looks like to me like we might and again, we still don't have all the information. If anybody gathers any, please let us know.
Guys in the comments, if you guys are little research warriors now, they're pretty good at helping us out.
Yes, yeah, no, I've noticed that.
They also say that beef ramen is the best. Can we trust them anymore?
I don't have the biggest problem with beef ramen.
I have a lot of beef with beef ramen.
I like the chicken the best, probably.
Of course.
Yeah.
Chicken is always the best ramen.
Yeah. So to me, the scope that we have been given, the visual that we have been given, it looks to me like the third arriving deputy possibly had an accidental discharge which hit the suspect. And that's what it looks like to me, but I'll leave it to our research team and warriors to go find that out. Guys, when you are moving with a weapon, you have to be so careful and be aware of, the analogy we use in range instruction is this. When we started driving as young folks, we kept our hands at 10 and 2. And then as we get older and get more used to things, next thing you're driving with your knee, you're playing with your coffee, you're playing with your phone, you're eating Taco Bell, you're doing all kinds of things that you shouldn't be doing. You have to do a systems check and steady the wheel. And that's easier said than done when you have a possible homicide suspect who's got a gun on his person and wrestling with your partner. And, but we just got done saying this to our officers at range earlier this morning. You have to steady the muzzle and you have to steady your finger out of the trigger guard before you do anything. It needs to feel like Velcro. When that finger comes off of the frame of the weapon and down into the trigger guard, you have made a life and death decision. And that includes when you're moving with it, when you're running with it, when you're walking with it, when you're when you are handling it as far as loading a mag or locking the slide back or dropping the slide. That finger needs to shoot out of there just as fast as your hand would come out of a campfire. It just is. You have to get out of there.
Analogy.
And you have to get out of there, and that's the only way we're going to be safe. I said it this morning when we were doing classroom drills. There's probably 3 or 4 stories every year of a training nightmare where somebody got a live round into a training scenario and a deputy gets killed, a police officer gets killed, a security officer gets killed by our own guys. And the thing is that it just can't happen on our watch. It just can't. We have to absolutely have to know where those fingers are, and we have to know where those muzzles are. I removed somebody from class today for it, and he's a fantastic young man. He got along with him great, and he was very humble about it, and did not push back at all. He said that's it's moving a little quick for me. And the thing is if you can't steady that wheel to go straight down the highway, then you can't reach for a coffee. You can't you just can't. You can't do anything else because that muzzle and that finger is just so damn important.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to say that too.
Sure.
Because hey, I want to carry a gun. It's cool. No, it's not. No,
It's not that it's cool.
I don't care how good of a shooter you
Yeah.
are. If you're not safe and you're not mentally fit for it, then it's just not going to happen. And for someone to step up and say, you know what, I need to steady the wheel before I start reaching for the coffee or changing the radio station
Yeah.
or turning up the music, that's big of someone to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Not everybody will do that. We've had people less than happy be removed, and that really lessens their chances of ever carrying a gun for a living for us. And so for someone to say, hey, eat a little humble pie and say, you know what, you're right. I'm taking your instruction. I'm going to take your homework, and I'm going to go home and work on that. As instructors for me, and I know you, nothing makes us happier than seeing that guy or girl come back 6 months from now,
Sure.
just super squared away. That's one tally for today, and do what they need to be doing because that means that our job as
They're learning.
instructors
They're
is
paying attention.
we're implementing that safety and just that way of life of carrying a gun, and we're doing our job, and they're receptive to it. We're getting through to these guys.
The other thing is if you are in a classroom environment where you have 2 to 3 instructors watching you, ensuring that your finger's not falling in the trigger guard and that you are being disciplined with your muzzle, and you can't perform that. How are you going to perform when there's something extremely stressful
Yeah.
like a
Yep.
homicide suspect with a gun
Yeah.
going on? Because the thing of it is every scope I'm seeing, they're going to be writing a homicide suspect an extremely large check. Now he's going to have to go answer for that homicide
Sure.
and whatever if that warrant ends up being and he's convicted of it, but he'll be coming out of prison with a lot of money.
Yep.
Well,
Sorry.
no, and that's just this is going to sound very just what homicide suspect. You don't just shoot him. He's
No.
a suspect. He
Yeah.
has a gun. Yes, I got it. He's dotting all kinds of I's. I got it. But it's still he has to be actively taking what they call in court. Another one of my old man's statements: a classic combat position. Our classic firing,
Which he clearly
position.
wasn't.
Yeah,
He was
with
surrendering
in both hands.
Yep. As soon as he got out of the car, he's like, we just screwed here. And instantly went to the ground.
Yeah.
And at that point, when he's surrendering, the decision of when his life should end or not is done by a jury or a judge, not by you with the
Yeah.
gun in the field.
No.
And guys got to realize it. And so you're exactly right. And obviously, with all the experience, it just comes with the territory that those are things you learn. And so you could be a great shot. And maybe she could shoot 100 for 100. And that I guarantee that deputy went through probably a 6 to 9 month academy.
Easy.
And she walks up on the suspect with a finger on the trigger. And this is at face value. This is allegedly. We don't have all the information. So please don't think, like you said, we're sticking our flag on this and this is what we're.
No, we don't have all the
No,
information.
but going by what we're going off of for the sake of entertainment for the podcast, if we're going to say that's the clean cut black and white of it, then that just goes to show that somebody that's got months and months and hours upon hours of range time, how quickly they can make a mistake when they're put in a pressure cooker like that. That's why we have to vet our guys the way we do. And so when someone takes that criticism and says, you know what, I'm going to go get better, that's a win all day long.
Let's do it this way since we don't have all the information. Because we don't have all the information, if you and I are on a jury, the subject who is on the ground wound up with a gunshot wound to his back, and that is all the video we have. I'm siding with the plaintiff.
Yeah.
I'm siding with that
Yeah.
because
He could have killed 100 people.
and I see both
was-
of his
He was
hands.
done wrong right
I
there.
see both of his hands, and I hear a gunshot.
Well,
go
one's
off.
one's
was-
getting
it-
one.
So the information that I did a little quick research on it real quick, just to see if I could find any more information.
It's a good source.
Yeah.
Okay.
The information that I have on it is they responded it was a 25-year-old male. We know all that. They pulled the gun from his waistband. He was drawing it from his
So
waistband
he
when
never
he
even
said
had
gun.
hands on it.
He had his hand. He had one
Oh,
hand. When they said gun, 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 he had his hand on. He was coming around. They took that out from the waistband. They pulled it out. His hands went out. The deputy fired a single round, striking the man. There's no information on where the round was. The man was transported to the hospital. He's reported to be stable.
Okay.
He
He didn't deserve. He didn't. He didn't deserve to get shot, let alone get killed.
Sure didn't look like it to me.
No.
recovered from the scene was the handgun, but outside of that, without looking at the actual police report, there's not a lot of other information that's made public on this.
Well, I mean, what I'm
Or at least
saying
that I have.
at the end of that video, I see both of his hands and I hear a gunshot go off.
Yeah.
So if he's got a gunshot wound to match off,
With enough delay to get a finger off the
yeah,
trigger. It's lightning fast.
if that matches up with everything in his wound, then that's sure what it looked like.
Which, and I don't mean lightning fast. Like, that happened fast, and I'm not criticizing, but exactly like you said, this is why that training sticks. I mean, you've probably got tens of thousands of hours. We've got thousands of hours behind a weapon in your range, and we still adhere to that like it's day one. You have to. You have to. Systems check. We do it to ourselves.
We
it's-
had to make and guys, this is let me Monday morning quarterback myself. Captain McFarland and I had to do some twisting and turning on range prep one morning with a very small group of officers, and we were teaching in a area where I wasn't used to teaching at. And I went to say something to the officers, and when I went to step in front of them, I realized they were still unholstered. And I even looked at Captain McFarland. I said, "That was dumb." And I come back around and I have them holster up. And the thing is that's why we say recover that thing to the holster. Get back in that holster. That's where it's safe. That's where we can talk and where it's safe at. And and that's steadying the wheel as an instructor. I didn't steady the wheel my line, and I'm gonna make mistakes. One of my mentors and one of the best range instructors I've ever met in my life had an accidental discharge, and it's because we get lackadaisical and we do things like that. Lackadaisical can be huge,
Yeah.
like shooting around when you don't mean to, and it could be just walking up to a car nonchalantly and not having your head on correct. But it also can be when you take off running to help your buddy and your finger slips into that trigger
Yep.
guard,
Yep.
and you're trying, you have all the best intentions in the world,
Well,
all the best intentions.
Really good point there, because I remember when that happened. We didn't have any ammunition,
No.
and it was just
Dry
dry
gun
fire.
drills.
But it's still the fact that your
It's a
level,
systems check.
your level of hypervigilance, even when it's not live fire,
Yeah.
that's how, or you could assimilate. You practice like you play,
Yeah.
because if you treat it the same, then when you are on live fire, it's the same way.
And every gun's loaded. I mean, every single gun is loaded. And the thing is I make mistakes just like everybody else. And I got lackadaisical and stepped out in
Right.
front of them when they were, at a low ready position. I was never really in any danger, but
No.
it's the fact of I can't brush that off of myself. I have to go
We
home.
gotta be perfect in
and-
that one
yeah,
aspect.
and-
Safety is what we have to be perfect in.
Yeah, and I trust me, I went home and duly chastised myself for it because it was like, and that was at a time where I was trying to really bring you two up as instructors. And how the heck am I going to make you guys be hyper vigilant? Why don't you tell the story about our time at range right before I let the hand off the back of the bicycle about what you were doing when you were walking down range?
I don't know which one's this.
So this is the one where we had to have a talk at the picnic table afterwards because of a function you were doing when I was letting you just have the line. So I'll tell it since
Yeah, I literally don't.
you've had too many
He's
head
got one.
You've
Too
had
many
too many head
injuries.
injuries to
One of those.
remember, or you're just a moron. One of those two things.
It's a little bit of both.
So as Captain McFarland as I was allowing him to kind of take over range, and I was going to feel good about not being there and not to have serious anxiety attacks. The last couple ranges leading up to that, before I just let him take it on his own, I would just go watch him. I didn't teach anymore. I would help him if he got stuck. If he was trying to give some instruction or get somebody fixed because there was a sight picture problem, I'd help him. But other than that, he was just running. I was just watching, and I would write little notes and things like that. And there was one point where he had 3 armed people behind him, and he walked up to address a target, and he continued to turn his back to 3 armed people. And our standard is 4. He can teach 4 on his own without me there. Other than that, you need a second set of eyes. But I waited till class was done, And it was a pretty emotional moment for both of them.
They were holstered though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said you got to get out of the habit
Of trusting everybody.
trusting everybody.
Nope,
And
I
yeah,
agree. Okay. I
yeah.
was thinking something like egregious, like
No,
I dropped
no,
the gun
no.
or
egregious.
something.
You were in a habit of
Being a little too trusting.
yeah.
No, I remember that. Yeah.
well, it's like even
I remember it now.
yes,
I remember who it was too.
even like today when Captain McFarland and I were down range because we had a big class today. We had 9 shooters total, and so when we were down with our 9 shooters, I basically christened or made Patton's dad, Glenn. I made him our safety officer,
Yep.
and I said, hey, we got a lot of paper to hang and stuff like that. And I said, and we trust Glenn. He does a good job, and it was one of those things where I said, I need you to watch the rest of
And
these
they were still at the
guys.
table,
And
and
Yep.
weapons were
weapons
unloaded,
were
everything.
safe,
Yeah.
and stuff.
But
and I
still, that's how there's
It-
just checks and. But yeah,
It's-
I even heard him say that, and I was like, "Good, that means we're both winning."
Get done with it real quick. Get it out of the way.
And it's one of those things where Glenn doesn't have to do anything other than scream and just say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then it's going to
back towards
get my attention. But yeah, we can't just you can't just turn your back or get lackadaisical and things like that. And guys, just I can't emphasize it more. When you're moving one part of your body, there's probably something else on your body moving. And I pretty much guessing she's, or the deputies running to the area. Things are moving really, really fast. The fingers dropped in, and something happens that makes you flinch, and then that's just what we do.
Well, again, that's a pressure cooker. You got 3 guys all coming in on one guy. He starts to turn him towards her. I mean, there's just so many reasons why that finger needs to be out of the trigger guard. And again, she's got, just hours and hours and hours of range time. And so that just goes to show how quickly and easily it can go from
And that's why
okay
we're
to
so
not okay.
that's why we're so big on that low ready. Because the thing is that low ready is, hey, I'm seeing both hands. I still could have a gun in the area. But I'm going to go ahead and stop
Yeah.
covering them down. And I'm going to get it to where if the
Take the
round
front side
does,
off the target, yeah.
if the round does go off, it's going to go off the ground
Yeah.
or something like that. And that's why we're really big into it. It's not that it's time to holster up quick because there's still a real threat here, but take the laser, take the flag
Yeah.
off of the.
It's not an imminent threat.
Yeah, it's not an imminent threat anymore when we can see both of his hands.
Yep. That's example I use sometimes. And I'm just not a big Star Wars guy. I'm just not. But think of it as like a lightsaber out of the barrel of a gun.
That's how
No
it
matter
was
what
taught to me. It
touches,
was called
no
the
matter-
laser rule.
Laser, yeah,
Yeah,
lightsaber. Whatever it
when-
touches, it hurts.
When as things progressed, I kept hearing everybody call it flagging. I was like, flagging? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's called flagging. And I was like,
I would think of the Joker. It was like,
I always thought when someone said it was flagging, I was like, okay.
yeah. And the way it was taught to me was a laser. And what they said was when the gun comes out of the holster, there's a laser that goes on forever coming out of that gun.
Yep.
And anything you drag it across, you've destroyed.
Yep. Cut it
And
in
that's
half,
yeah, that's the way that it was taught to me. But
it's a good way to help remember it
Yeah.
because you're constantly thinking down range. You're not
Yeah.
thinking just right in front of you.
Yeah.
You're thinking 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
You're thinking forever.
Yeah. And the thing is, if nothing else from that video, it's a good reminder of, don't be lackadaisical with those fingers.
Does some checks.
Yeah.
Does some checks.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other comments on anybody find anything out?
Let's see. Other than that, that's the only thing we've got on there. Let's see. Gary's on. Gary, thanks for joining us. Same with Beatty. Beatty's here as well.
Yep.
Gary says that he worked with a lot of young officers over the years. They've made comments that can't wait to get into something. And those are what we call cowboys, and those
It's a
are
red flag.
very dangerous.
Yeah.
That's something to keep an eye on.
Should be the last thing in the world you
Yeah.
want to do.
And
You,
that-
you should be wanting to drink coffee and have a Danish and
Yep.
and have a good, nice, warm day in your patrol vehicle or at your post. No,
Don't say the Q word. Just make it through your shift. Nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Do a few good proactive things. Find out a couple lights that might be out or help somebody with directions or something. But you don't want to be getting into that stuff. If you do, you need to go to a different country where there's an active war zone. That's where in my opinion, that's where you belong.
there's an old Sean Connery line from The Untouchables where he says, "Don't guess when it's going to happen. Don't think about when it's going to happen. Don't even want it to happen. Just be prepared for when it does." Yeah. And it's just if you're sitting there just rubbing your hands together, waiting for something to pop off, for lack of a better term, wrong business.
Wrong business.
Yeah.
It just
Absolutely.
it reminds me of that first reaction video he did with that security guard that boxed
Yep.
that guy in.
And he was
he was just
wanting
hunting
it
for it.
Yeah,
that
he
day.
wanted
He
it.
was, and that that's creating You're putting yourself in jeopardy.
Not yourself, and everybody around you.
Well, there's a man that's no longer with us because of that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. Whether it be you, the person you're dealing with, the innocent bystander. I know we have people that watch this podcast that don't work for us. If that's you, don't come here. We don't want you.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the weekend look like, boys?
Cold.
Very cold.
Yeah,
Hey, do the Chiefs play this weekend? I haven't looked at the schedule.
they do. They play at noon, and
I don't know why you're looking at me when you ask that. Like, I don't even know the
I'm
answer.
Sharon.
they play at noon. I believe it's the Texans.
We always sometimes have a hard time against them. They are 1-11, I believe.
We have a hard time when we're not playing the best teams in the league.
We play down to our competition.
Exactly right.
And we play up usually. Usually.
Yeah, we played our
But
best. We're
sure.
in trouble.
The Texans have one win all season. Dallas has, I think, only 2 or 3 losses. They're playing pretty good this year, as much as I hate
And
to say
Texans
that.
almost beat
And
them.
they almost beat them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Coop, your thoughts on the Texans Chiefs matchup? Go.
No
and
clue.
go.
Do you know where the
Chiefs are gonna
Texans
win.
are from?
Really?
I'm just making sure.
I mean, I would hope the name was a dead giveaway.
You'd be surprised. We're New England.
New
Exactly.
England?
Yeah,
It's,
it's an actual state. So it
No, I
doesn't
know
count.
that. I don't know.
The New England Patriots.
They're based out of Boston, buddy.
I don't. I appreciate.
okay.
it.
As soon as it starts getting
He
to the
makes fun
Northeast,
of me
though, to be
for it.
honest, I'm a history buff, and I want to go see Liberty Hall. Where the guy signed the Declaration of Independence. I
like
just
to
want to
see
be
that.
in there and just kind of soak it up for a minute,
Like, dude,
But when I get closer to the Northeast, I'm like, I don't know where Philadelphia is, where Baltimore is. I don't know where all these places are. I just know they're up Northeast. And me being a history buff, I like to know that stuff. So I'm not giving you a hard time for that one. New England's a tough one because you ask a lot of people, and they're like, you know what? I've actually never really thought about that, like where the stadium is. Because you think New England is,
Foxborough, Massachusetts
Yeah.
is where it's
Yeah.
at. But you would, when you're looking at the, when you're looking at the big grouping of their fan base, I would imagine it's Boston.
Yeah. Patriots and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
80 says, "Practice as you play," and he says, "We train as you fight."
Yeah.
And then he says, "Captain's starting to come back with the sports analogies." So he's
Can't help it. Can't help it. I did pretty good at range.
Well,
You only used like one or two.
So McFarland gets that from Leon mainly. McFarland
And
used
my
to do,
coaches.
he used to do a lot of it, but when he started into the training program and started like really going into like that,
Well, applying
he
it to
picked it up-
training stuff,
he picked it
definitely
up like
from him.
100 times more than he ever used to do it in the past. And so every time he makes a reference to something, generally, I'd say 98% of the time, it's a sports metaphor.
Yeah.
And I
That's-
wholeheartedly
that's-
believe that he gets that from you.
I apply majority of my sports career to lessons in life or vice versa. And so just, getting punched in the mouth happened to me in life and happened to me in sports. It happened to me in sports first. So I knew how to handle it better, when it happened to me in life. And so those kind of, they go hand in hand for me just from when I was in second grade and could barely pick up a baseball bat. I was playing t-ball to football to basketball, got into wrestling, and obviously moved on to baseball and stuff as I got older and then, started going different directions. But some of my best memories and some of my most influential memories are from sports.
Yeah.
Just because there's two people competing or two teams competing and there's no there didn't used to be participation trophies. There was one guy that won and one guy lost, and you learned how to do each gracefully.
No, absolutely. If I mentioned that you could actually hang meat in this studio, how cold it is in here. If you had
Is that cold?
Oh, pepperoni.
if you had the president of our company in here who weighs about
Oh, he'd have that little heater on.
107
He's the
pounds.
6'2", 110-pound guy.
Yes. Yeah, that's him.
It's his heater over here. You
I
guys
know.
can't see it's off. It's off
It's
camera,
off.
but he has
It's
a heater.
not even on though. It's off.
He's had this since like July.
Well, here I would
Oh,
agree
it's
with you.
on, too.
Here I would agree with him. It's freezing.
It's not that cold.
Yes, it is.
Well, we were in the cold all morning.
True.
Yeah. So yeah.
The indoor range we had today was much colder than I anticipated.
That's what I try to tell everybody.
Well,
Did
and I
you
knew
turn
that.
did you turn the blower on?
Yeah, we did.
All right.
Without blowing ourselves up. Luckily, we had a guy there that operated one before. It's been a while since I did. So
Not that
like,
hard.
just no gas. Just explosions in the
Yeah.
I
Fine.
can see
Everything's fine.
he's fine. But yeah. Other than that, guys,
Have a safe
yeah.
weekend. Take care of each other. Make sure you stay warm. Layers, layers, layers. Water, water, water.
yes, college for really. There's no excuse at this point. We could talk. There's no excuse at this point to not have a jacket. We've got all shapes and sizes. There's a big inventory of them in our patrol room. Me and the guys will do whatever we need to do, whether that's bring them to you. If you're being reasonable, we can make it happen to where we don't want you guys getting cold, getting sick. So.
And just know with the jackets that the lieutenants and the captain, they're gonna get those jackets to the guys who have an outside piece of their post first.
Yes.
So yeah, before and so if you're an inside post guy, and
You can wear a jacket to work,
wear a
take
jacket.
that off, and you can have your insignias and everything. Then that's what we're gonna do until we get to you.
until we get to you. So we're just gonna make sure that we get to our guys who are out in the elements first.
Other than that, big things that we got going on. We'll have one more show
Live.
Monday live, and
Is that
then
confirmed the theme?
I don't know yet. I'm still waiting for a reply.
It should be a fun one, hopefully, if Coop can pull it off.
We're working on getting some special stuff, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But then we're gonna do a pre-recorded one for the next probably 3 shows after that, guys, just because of the holidays and stuff. So the Friday after,
Give us some ideas on what you guys want to hear or see or whatever, so we can give you something. We'll give
While
the
we're
people
gone.
what they want. Yeah, because I mean the pre-recorded ones are easy because we usually have some sort of subject matter, but we're not able to answer questions or comments and stuff. So that's obviously unfortunate. So give us some topics that you guys want to
And if
hear
you-
about, or
if you're watching this after the fact and you want to put something in the comments that you think would be a good topic for one of the pre-recorded, I'm gonna be checking the comments on this one and the past probably 3 videos for the next 2 days just to make sure I get everything accounted for. Put them in the comments, guys. Let me know, and like I said, we'll discuss it and we'll get it on there, and if we can. Other than that, I don't really have anything else. It's gonna be cold. Stay, just like they said, stay bundled up, stay hydrated.
maybe one of the pre-recorded will do a reaction where I run this as best I can.
No, I don't want you to mess it up any of my shit.
Okay, fine.
I don't know that I blame him for that decision.
You know how long it took me to get all this working in like
Yeah.
a functional order?
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's supposed to be the point where it's like one click and we're good to go.
You're gonna
Yeah, for
have
somebody with-
like cords wrapped around your ear. It'll
For
be a
somebody who
mess.
has an understanding of computers, you have a hard time turning yours on half the time.
Well, yeah, sure. All right,
Guys,
guys.
have a good
Take
I
weekend.
care.
appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekends, and we will see you guys on Monday. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, fellas and ladies.